All right, so we have some produce here, and what we're going to do is we're going to make a relish. That's the first thing we're going to do. What do I mean by relish? In this case, I'm basically grating, using a cheese grater to grate produce. This is a golden beet. I really like golden beets because unlike regular beets, they don't turn everything red, so they're great. I mean, regular beets are also great, but I got myself a golden beet. The bottom line is a deeply pigmented piece of produce, and I like beets because they're fairly low in carbohydrates when they're not juiced. They have and they're not cooked. They're great. They're great nutrients with not a whole lot of carbs. Then I also have a sulfur-rich produce. This is a black radish, which kind of tricky to find black radishes, but it doesn't matter. Any radish will do. Any other sulfur-containing vegetable, such as kohlrabi or turnip, or another piece of produce that most people have never seen before. Turnips are the things in Super Mario Brothers, if that's helpful at all. But yeah, so we're gonna grade this as well. I got a carrot. This also grates very easily. Some red cabbage or purple cabbage, which this is an interesting piece of produce also because it contains nutrients in the colored produce category as well as the sulfur-rich category. So this is a great one to grate also. It was completely unintentional. Then what we're going to use is either lemons. I usually use lemons, but I don't have lemons right now. What I have is limes. And I have what I call a lemon squeezy. It's a super technical, it's an industry terminology, but a lemon squeezy. And we're going to use that and just squeeze some lemons or limes into our relish. And we'll go on with the other things. I also got asparagus, which is a super vegetable. This is one of my favorite pieces of produce. Has an enormous amount of nutrients that we can utilize. And avocado, look at the size of this one. Avocados are amazing, full of healthy fats, and plenty of phytonutrients in them as well. So let's grate. Basically, we have a container of something of sorts that I can put in the fridge, after we're done. So I'm gonna pick one of these. We're gonna do some grating. Boom. So with asparagus, we're probably just gonna need like 2 spears for this, and for one bowl. Here's how asparagus works. You kind of hold it, I don't know, 2/3 of the way down, so 1/3 is on this side, and then just bend it until it breaks, and where it breaks, that's where you want it to break. Cool. Now we're just gonna slice this up, and you really don't need to slice this at all. Just do whatever, just like little chunks or bigger chunks, or you honestly could just break it with your hands into whatever size you want. Either way, it's all going in your belly. So for meat, it can be whatever you want. Right now, I'm doing Ivy tuna, which is just about as easy as it gets. So this is frozen, sushi grade, wild caught tuna. And the thing about tuna is it's one of the fishes that is, technically higher in mercury. But the thing is, and in my book, I even have an image that shows a graph of fish, their mercury content and their selenium content, because selenium binds mercury, making it so it's not active in our bodies. So tuna is on the safe list. So what we're gonna do with this is we're just gonna slice it up. It's frozen, and we're gonna eat it raw. And I like it, doing it straight while it's frozen, because you know what happens with frozen stuff? It thaws, and it's awesome. And I'm fine eating it frozen too. Let me kind of slice this in half here. So I have some like smaller pieces, but always be careful of your fingers, especially when cutting frozen things. And this is the other thing that's great about ahi, is that it's not really, really tough to cut when it's frozen. It's actually it's nice to cut when it's frozen. It's got a little more give than when it's not frozen, and it's not difficult, So I'm a big fan of ahi. Salmon, on the other hand, is a little harder to chop or to cut when it's frozen, but we're not dealing with salmon right now. We're dealing with ahi. So, all right, this is probably enough for 2 meals, but that's what we got. All right, so I'm gonna take a box of greens, and what we're gonna do is assemble it in this bowl. I have a scale, which is completely unnecessary, but if you want to use a scale, you can measure these things. I'm not going to measure the greens because they weigh almost nothing. I'm just going to put them right in there. So say a big handful of greens. Then I'm going to use this, turn it on, and it's going to tare to the weight of that. So right now it's a 0 on the scale. Let's measure some of these things. We got some asparagus. That is 30 grams of asparagus. We're gonna throw that in there. And then, let's see, now the next thing, I'm gonna use some sauce. So this isn't measuring color and sulfur, or it is measuring color and sulfur together. These are equal parts. I did 1 medium beet, 1 medium radish, and then I put purple cabbage in there, which counts for both sulfur-rich and deeply pigmented produce. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put about that's about 50 grams. Let's do 60 grams. That's good. And as I was doing it, I was thinking this would be good mixed up. So I'm gonna do that. Yeah. And mind you, there's some juice in there too, some lemon juice. But the biggest thing we want to do is get some of each one in each meal, if possible. It doesn't need to be some of each type of produce in each meal, but it's definitely nice when we do this. So I'm just going to kind of stir it up with this. Maybe add some olive oil. And I like a generous amount of olive oil. I guess I didn't measure that either, so probably about a tablespoon. and some salt, and it's going back in. Last thing we're going to measure is the tuna, and that's going on top. Unnecessary to measure it, but we could do that. And let's see, I'm going to say probably 1/2 of this, which comes out to about 120 grams, or 100 grams will do it. So that's it. It's not super pretty right now, but it's super tasty, and it has all the nutrients you need. Well, lastly, avocado. You just want to cut this in half. I do this in my hand, very carefully. Basically, there's a big pit in avocado, and what you want to do is basically slice around that pit and get a straight line all the way across it. And then you can kind of twist this, and voila, you got the seed right in the middle. And then I always leave the one with the seed. I don't take the seed out. And I tend to only use half an avocado each time. So and actually we could measure this right where it is. Let's see what it is. It's gonna have the skin on it in this, but I doubt the skin weighs all that much. So this is 140 grams. I might only use half of this because this is a big avocado. So let's say 70 grams. And what I'm going to do is just kind of slice it right down the middle, lengthwise. And then what I like to do is slice one more time, kind of between each side. And then I might, slice some cubes in there, so little things here. This is unnecessary. I mean, if you really want to, you take a spoon and just dig some out and throw it in a bowl. So let me get a spoon. Okay. So, yeah, I really don't need to slice it. That's basically just for looks and aesthetic and whatnot, but you get some chunkies out and throw them in the bowl. And because you slice through, like, these will come apart pretty easy. And as you see, I don't worry about getting my hands dirty. I'm gonna wash them. I did wash them. And there you go. So that's a Feed a Brain bowl. That is delicious. We have the acid already in there. Like a salad dressing is oil and some sort of acid. I will say, as far as the lemons or limes or any citrus, you can also use any vinegar, basically. Balsamic vinegar is more on the sweet end, so I'd avoid that. But there are, any other vinegar you want to use, you can use. You don't need to have lemons and limes all the time. But yeah, that's it. Enjoy a Feed a Brain bowl. You have the slaw, which I called a relish earlier. I don't know, call it whatever you want. But that is in a container that I can put in my fridge. Like I said, that last week's, and if I want a salad, I just get a handful of greens. I throw a big scoop of that relish on there. And, the cool thing about ahi tuna is it can just stay in your freezer. And you can chop it when you make something like this, or you can chop it beforehand and put it back in the freezer. Really easy meals and really, really good for you.